type of guy I'm talking about. Guys that come in here, they watch for a little bit, or they watch Sex Pestiny, Molestiny. They maybe move on to like Asmongold, right? And then slowly but surely, without realizing, because all of their political worldview is developed by like listening to content creators. Yeah, too late, dummy. There you go. That's what happens usually. They just they go from like centrist positions eventually into the right wing. Don't understand hate watchers. What's the point, please? No, I love guys like this. I love guys that are who are at 2025 when we're fucking talking 8 months into the Trump presidency, 9 months into the Trump presidency. Guys who are like, nah, I still ride with Trump pretty hard, as we're looking at fucking polls that show a lot of people have extreme discontent with the administration for obvious reasons. That is 100% my favorite type of guy in the chat. I value that type of person. I love my hogs, okay? I love my hogs. It's not a secret. I want to know what flavor of Kool-Aid they drank, how they arrived at those positions. It's an important part of like de-radicalizing people like this. You know? I'm here, Law. I agree with some of what you say. Okay, explain to me what you agree with and what you disagree with. I'd peg you as a sociopath, to be honest. I'd attribute it to a desire for power. You running for office. Ironic, because I've always said no to that. In the same, transpons narrative to a different premise. If you read The Decline of Trump Approval, just show which policies are causing it, not just fish. One of them, all which fits your narrative. It's not one of them. It's all of them. Because the entire diametrical opposite of Bernie Sanders, with the exception of, like, I guess, presenting himself as a fighter against the established Republican Party. Because the only thing you can point to with respect to like Bernie versus Trump is that Bernie is seen as an outsider to his own party. He's an independent. And Trump presented himself as an outsider and in some respects was an outsider to the Republican Party. But he very quickly whipped the rest of the Republican Party to his own design, to his own desires. And also, a lot of what Trump does is basically just a maximalist position that you would logically arrive at with years and years of reactionary propaganda. So Donald Trump is not different than the average Republican in many respects. But it's just funny because, like, this is, guys, I would bracket this off as like the third category. If politics are team sports for many Americans, because of their inability to recognize that policies are what matter and not the politicians or the team that you're voting for. The third category is the independent guy, the anti-establishment guy. Obviously, the first category is vote blue no matter who, and then the second category is the vote red no matter dead, the Republicans. But then the third category is the outsiders, the people that fancy themselves to be anti-establishment. Okay, these are the three major reasons as to why people actually vote for people. This is a real issue. That's precisely the reason why when Republicans, or not Republicans necessarily, but when Democrats actually don't present a real robust response to growing fascism, or when Democrats, when they're in charge, don't actually follow through on their agenda items and are constantly fucking hit with like legislative setbacks that they're seemingly unable to overcome. A lot of people still go, shut the fuck up. They're still better than the Republicans. Or when they come around to Republican positions and reactionary framing on issues such as immigration, the notion that immigrants actually constitute a national security threat, for example, in the way that like Kamala Harris presented it in this last election cycle, Democrats go, you got to vote for the Democrats, shut the fuck up. Those are the vote blue no matter who guys. They don't believe in the policies. They don't believe in any sort of like discernible ideology. There are Pew Center research. There is consistent Pew research on the matter. 20% of Americans vote on ideological grounds, which are, I guess, the closest that you could point to in terms of like an association with tangible policy goals. And 80% on both sides actually vote for partisan reasons. They vote for a party because their parents did. They vote for a party because they've always voted for said party. Okay? And the reality of the matter is these independent guys also are the same. Because if someone were to actually like Bernie Sanders for his policies, right? Medicare for all, free free college for all, and not simply the aesthetic of like being anti-establishment, they would never actually flip from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump obviously is antagonistic to the major reasons why people are supposed to like Bernie Sanders. That's it. That's why a lot of these guys go from like, oh, I voted for Bernie or I wanted Bernie Sanders, but now I actually like Donald Trump. That to me means that you are in the third category of partisanship, which is to remain nonpartisan, to remain anti-establishment. That's the only thing that binds Bernie Sanders in some way to Donald Trump. Does that make sense? For me, there's a reason why Bernie got way more Republican crossover voters than any moderate lib ever dreamed of getting. These aren't leftists who moved over to the right. They're ex-apolitical or once ex-conservatives who saw a different option than the status quo. Yeah, it's vibes-based for the most part. But once again, I don't have an issue with vibes-based voting. I mean, I wish that it wasn't vibes-based. What I have an issue with is non-policy-driven voting, okay? If I were to explain my main role here, it's to try to get every single person that tunes in to actually care about the policy agenda, to actually care about holding politicians to account regardless of party affiliation, okay? That's it. And unfortunately, given, and not to get too Marxist here, but given the reality that we have a bourgeois capitalist democratic process that is supposed to have a bipartisan attitude on major issues that pertain to, you know, some of the most consequential aspects of your life, like privatized medicine, privatized healthcare, an incredibly costly college education that is getting increasingly more costly, endless military, endless warfare around the globe, endless fucking money to the military. These are things that like neither major party actually disagree on. It's established as the truth. It's established as this like reality, because those are the things that like the average person actually worries about and actually cares about. And yet there is an established consensus there. American politics turns into team sports. So the people that are super tuned into this stuff do not care about the policies at all, do not care about like holding politicians to account when they refuse to push for these policies that they promised that they would actually push for when they are in charge. That's my goal. I don't give a fuck who's advocating for what. I care about the actual policies, okay? I don't care about the letter next to their name. Of course, I have a lot of smoke for the Republican Party because the policies that they supposedly care about are also genuinely harmful, and at best are simple distractions, okay? But the reason why I have a lot of smoke for the Democrats are also because they don't follow through on any of the agenda that they claim to care about, any of the issues that they claim to care about, okay? That's it. We got to hold these motherfuckers accountable. Anyway, do I regret playing Among Us with AOC? No, fuck no. Why would I? No, of course not. I think a lot of people don't understand that I use the Democratic Party because it's the only game in town that is supposed to be the ostensible left flank of American politics. Because I'm a firm and committed believer that a lot of people who are self-identified liberals are not as antagonistic to the policies that I'm advocating for. The goal is to capture their attention and get them to also be diehard fighters for these causes, okay? You might disagree with that. You might say it's entryism, it's stupid, it's silly. You're just an advocate for the same imperial coin, and that's fine, okay? But I don't see you building a revolutionary vanguard anytime soon. And if you look to the actual current cultural attitudes towards the left, if you look to the current attitude towards socialism in this country, we are a far way out from building any sort of revolutionary vanguard anyway. So right now, advocacy is perhaps more important than anything else. Having prominent left politicians run for positions of power and show that there's an alternative vision there that will hopefully capture the attention of enough Democrat Party voters that demand more of the same type of fucking policies and the same type of politics that you see from the likes of Zohran Mamdani is the best possible way to even bring about maybe down the line a revolutionary vanguard, if that's what you choose to do so. Same goes for unions. Okay? You should just pivot to classic liberalism and have some hope for getting a W one day. And all of that is where it comes crashing down. We ain't going to vote for socialism, Bubba. You should pivot to classic liberalism. Brother, don't you understand that this is my genuinely held worldview? Also, there is not a single fucking person that you could present that is a classical liberal that has the same level of fucking prominence in this sphere as someone like myself. So I don't know what you're talking about in terms of like an organically built movement around uncompromisingly pushing for these fucking pushing for these policies. Okay. And not only that, but I already showed you one of these W's with Zohran Mamdani. People despise liberals. They just hate it. I know your views. You're pretty clear. Socialists just need to appeal to incels, and it's easy. Outline how it will get easier to get pussy under socialism, and there will be a revolution within 1 year. Yeah, I don't think so. But good one. Hassan isn't a great guy, just saying. Thanks, John Smith, 3362. You're really going to make an impact in this community. Any day now. No problem, my man. I got you. Any day now, you're gonna convert some of these guys into also building their entire worldview around simply being antagonistic to whatever fucking position I hold. Like, that's not real politics. You know what I mean? That's just like you're listening to a fucking dumbass. If their entire political output and entire commentary output revolves around like whatever fucking drama that their favorite content creator got into, then they're not serious people. They have no interest. You know? Anyway. I forgot where we were, but yeah, Trump is unpopular, and I told you this was going to happen. And I told you this was going to happen with the youth as well, with the youth vote especially, and it swung dramatically. Yeah. Let's continue.
President Kabelski, what's your message for President?
Never even thought. It wouldn't have been my place to be there.
On
tariffs?
Will you visit a restaurant in D.C.? You haven't gone to...
I might, sure.
You haven't gone to one in either of your terms that wasn't...
How do you know? How do you know?
Because I and many other...
Do you want me to prove you wrong? Do you want me to prove you wrong?
Yes, please.
But I will, I think it's something we could consider doing. I'd love to do it. I love the White House food, but after a while I could see going to a nice restaurant. It's safe. If you would have said, like the Governor Moore wanted me to go and walk through Baltimore with him, and I said, you know, I think I'm a brave guy, but there's no reason to be stupid. They have crime that's at levels that nobody's ever seen before in Baltimore. They've done a terrible job. We'd go into Baltimore, straighten it out very quickly, too. You know why? They respect our soldiers. You see our soldiers. They respect our soldiers. We'd go there, too. But we're going to have people asking us to go. They're going to want to, and I think the people of those places the politicians are not in tune with the people. the people in Chicago, the people in Baltimore, the people in all of the places we talk about, they want to see us there. And I think we're pretty much waiting till we get asked and properly. Because we're doing them a big service. Yeah, please.
You're talking about how historic these tariffs have been, bringing in revenue, additional revenue for our country. You've also mentioned before they could possibly replace federal income tax.
Possible.
Do you think that's
Someday it's possible. It used to be. So if you go back to 1913 is when they ended tariffs. We were the richest ever from 1850. It was all tariffs. We didn't have income taxes. From 1850 to 1913. In the 1887s, about 1887.
It's good comparable state of international trade and commerce, I think. You know, that's definitely a similar trade environment. That's what I like to think of when I think of like, well, this worked in 1837 or 1887. Why can't it work now? That's great. This is even dumber than fucking people doing we got to go back to the gold standard shit, okay?
And the Great National Tariff Act. And it was a group of people that got together because our country was so rich, they didn't know what to do with the money. We had so much money, they didn't know what to do. It was a group of very prominent people that were set up to hand out money to everybody because we were the richest we ever were. Proportionately, we were in 1887, around that time, even in 1913. We ended them in 1913. How did that work out? And then we went to the income tax system, and then we had the Depression. And by the way, a lot of people try and say that, oh, tariffs with the Depression. No, they ended in 1913, and then we went to income tax, and then in 1929 you had the Depression. They did try and bring it back in 1931-32, but the Depression had long started, and this poor, beautiful nation was gone. It was gone. We suffered for 25 years. It took 25, 30 years to really recover from the Depression. And we don't ever want to see that happen again. The tariffs are vital to the success of this country. When I say I ended 7 wars, at least half of those wars were ended because of the power of tariffs. I was able to say, well, we're not doing any business with you, or if you're going to war, we're putting a big tariff on you. And all of a sudden they announced that the war was settled. I settled 7 different wars, one going 31 years, look at the Congo and Rwanda, look at that, 31 years, 10 million people dead, I got it settled. And a little bit of that one, less than in some cases, had to do with trade and had to do with tariffs. So, you know, tariffs are vital to our country. And just so you know, other countries use them on us, but I just use them a lot better. We're in a much better position. We have trillions of dollars coming into our country. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a very poor nation, and we would be taken advantage of by every other nation in the world, friend and foe. We're not going to let that happen. And we have a very, very big case in the Supreme Court. I can only say this. Our country has a chance to be unbelievably rich again, but it can also be unbelievably poor again. If we don't win that case, our country is going to suffer so greatly.
What's the backup plan, sir?
But I think we're going to have a big victory. Even if you look at the people that brought the case, they're foreign-oriented. They're foreign. Countries have taken advantage of the United States for so many years. And I started with China. You know, last term, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs from China. But when COVID came, the last thing I was going to do is we're going to tariff France and Italy.
There's a non-zero number right when you're sitting at home watching him speak, rubbing their chin as they ponder the profundity of Trump's statements. I mean, they also think he's hot. Like that in and of itself is, I think, the clearest indication of someone's mania. Like, there are people who look at Donald Trump and think he's like a sexy guy. I always like to point to that to show you like how insane these lunatics are. Because like, if you look at something that is right in front of your eyes and you don't see what other people are seeing, what everyone is seeing, and you just see something entirely different, like, you're a crazy person. You're a lunatic. My dad describes Trump as handsome and elegant. Oh my God. I'm sorry, man. When I saw those ladies wearing like Trump can grab my pussy t-shirts, I was like, this is over. This is not a normal movement. I mean, people think RFK is healthy. These guys are just responding to stimuli. They're not responding to what they can see. They are already on board with the don't believe your lying eyes shit, okay?
And, others, Spain, when they were doing so badly. But now we made a deal with the European Union where they're paying us almost $1 trillion, and they're happy to do it. You know what? They're happy. It's done. These deals are all done. I guess we'd have to unwind them. We've done deals with Japan, with South Korea. We've done deals with many countries and others to come. And if we didn't have the power, prestige, and dignity of tariffs, and I used them wisely, and people respect America again, and we've become a rich country again. The money coming in is incredible. And again, they use them on us. If we didn't have them, they would use them on us, and we would have no way to fight them. We would be a third world nation. So I think it's one of the most important cases I've ever seen go before the Supreme Court of the U.S.
2 weeks ago, you gave Vladimir Putin a 2-week deadline to agree to talks with Volodymyr Zelensky. That deadline is now nearly approached. Can you give us any indication when you will make a decision?
Well, I'm having a conversation with him very shortly, and I'll know pretty much what we're going to be doing. We've taken very strong action, as you know. And in other ways, we've taken very strong action. But I'll be speaking to him over the next few days, and we're going to see.
With who, sir?
I'm going to know exactly what's happening. But I'm not happy with all the people. You got 7,819 people killed last week. Russian soldiers and...
This number changes. Wait, why does he try to do like the exact number every time? Because yesterday he said 7,894. Now he's saying 7,819. It's just we've totally moved beyond like assuming that a position like the bully pulpit is supposed to is supposed to require a level of like decency. And a guy like the fucking president is not supposed to just like make numbers up. And it's awesome that you could just say whatever the fuck you want. There is very little that Trump says that is real. Okay. As a matter of fact, the only time where he's like actually being honest and transparent is whenever he talks about like the unlimited cruelty that America is going to bring about the rest of the world, where he'll be like when people will be like, oh, why are you giving weapons to Saudi Arabia? He goes, well, do you have $1 billion? They'll buy it from Russia. If they don't buy it from us, someone's got to buy these weapons. Like, that's the only time where he's like transparent or honest. He's only honest when he is talking about his dishonesty. But every other thing is just either lies, or now the new meta is just simply shouting out not even a talking point, but shouting out a word, one word. Everybody transgender, everybody understands what that means now. They make up their own minds as to what this is supposed to mean.
Ukraine soldiers, right? Not American soldiers, not soldiers from Poland, but they're human beings, they're souls. They have parents, they wave goodbye to their parents, and their parents never see them again. That's the end of them. Over a stupid war, and I want to see it stopped. Now, we have stopped the money we send weapons to NATO. They pay full price.
NATO.
We don't, Biden spent $350 billion so stupidly. And it was one of the reasons that this whole thing happened. A big reason this war happened was sitting right in these chairs, this one in particular. So I will tell you that I think we're going to have
thank you for the 5 gifted.
A good solution. but they're losing soldiers at levels that nobody has seen since the Second World War. This is the worst conflict, and it's just going on and on. It's one's defense, one's offense. The offense moves a little bit, just a little bit. You take a look, they move inches. They're dropping bombs and killing everybody. The whole thing is not since the Second World War has there been anything even close to this. And they're not, again, they're not soldiers from my country. This is my country. But I have a power to end things. That's why I was able to end 7 other wars. And you know that I thought of the 7. They're basically 7. Those were tough wars to end.
Like this is what I mean. When I say he just like makes shit up, this is a perfect example. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's basically 7. And it's like, he didn't do any of that. He's just making it up. Like either these conflicts came to a halt because of the two belligerents, okay? Or he's just lying. And especially when he says like, sometimes he said 10 last week, then you know he's lying. That's not even real. He just made up a number. And the only reason why he's saying that is because he can't actually fucking end the 2 conflicts that he said he was going to end day 1. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Israel's genocide of the Palestinian population in Gaza. He said he was going to end them day 1, and he couldn't, even though he has all the power to do so with especially Israel, and he just doesn't have the ambition, not even interested, okay? And with Russia, he couldn't do it. He genuinely thought Vladimir Putin respects him enough that he would like back away or offer him like this gift of no more military incursion in Ukraine. He was a fucking moron. And it didn't happen. So he has to make shit up to be like, I've ended 7 wars.
Much tougher, I thought, than the war with Ukraine and Russia. I thought that Ukraine and Russia have a very good relationship with President Putin. I thought that would be much easier. I thought that would be in the middle of the pack, maybe one of the easiest. Sometimes you never know with war. You know, war is a very interesting thing. You never know with war. War is complex and dangerous, and what a mess. What a bloody mess.
August 25th.
Good job. Thank you, sir. You stopping a lot of wars? just the presidents we're stopping. We've stopped 7 wars, and really the number is actually 10. We're not including a couple, and we're not including in there the what we did with Iran, stopping their nuclear play. They would have had within a month or 2, they would have had a nice big nuclear weapon to use. That's not going to happen. That won't happen.
I mean, what do we say to this? Like, what can you say to this? And it's sad because sometimes people misunderstand me when I talk about like certain content creators and their popularity, which we found is not even so organic as we previously thought. I'm not going to name any names. It's not that like there's envy or jealousy there that another content creator is more popular than me. There are a million content creators that are more popular than me. It's the fact that there are people tuning in who agree with this reactionary framework that frustrate me. And this is no different. It's not that Trump is like a bumbling old baboon, senile, and constantly lying. It's the fact that people actually love him, and they also agree with him, and they think he is brilliant. That's the most discouraging thing, because if like everybody recognized what the fuck he was and reacted appropriately and like, you know, constantly tried pushing and then there was like a significant militant response against that sort of thing, then I would say, you know, at least the population is smart. At least the population understands what's going on. At least your neighbors know what the fuck is up. What makes me sad is the fact that there is a 30% part of this population that unironically, no matter what he does, will turn around and say, nah, man, that's my president. You stupid libtard. He's hot. He's healthy. He's 215 pounds. And he's 6'4". and he can dunk a basketball. And he's ending all the wars. It's like, oh my God. It's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating to have to deal with people who have decided that they can just hallucinate an alternative reality. And those guys have so much play on our lives. Like even the military incursions, even the fucking, send the military, send the Marines, send the National Guard to Chicago shit. Like, that's done for those guys. Okay? Those guys who are just like, hell yeah, brother, we got to do more militant response to solve this unlimited crime in blue cities where seemingly there's a lot of black people. Like, that's who he's doing it for. Or, hell yeah, brother, we got to deport every Guatemalan. They're scary. They got salsa hips. They're dancing. I hate that. That's who he's doing this for. Those guys have so much fucking play. The dumbest, most psychotic, racist people in American society that have never left their fucking hometowns get to dictate what we all experience. And that is so fucking frustrating. Hyperbole? Yeah, wow, I can't believe you figured out that I am engaging in hyperbole. Is it in line with what's going on or not? I mean, look at this. Florida moves to end all school vaccine mandates, first in nation to do so. How the fuck can you look at this and go, this is great? This is great, brother. Fantastic. I can't wait. Hell yeah, brother. We're going to get rabies, and that's fine. We're bringing back Legionnaire's disease. Awesome.
It's going to get done one way or the other. But they have to stop killing all of these souls. They're souls, and we have to stop killing.
Just a follow-up on that.
All right. Yeah, he stopped them all.
New disclosure.
Anyway, let's move on to another issue that the Republicans are seemingly refusing to address.
From the Jeffrey Epstein files, a House committee this time released thousands of pages of Justice Department documents related to the disgraced financier. This happened last night. It also included missing cell block video that had raised conspiracy rumors over Epstein's reported suicide. Committee members also met with some of Epstein's alleged sex abuse victims. And Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill following all this for us. Nicole, good morning. What did we learn, if anything, from this release?
Hey, good morning to you, Tony. A CBS News review shows...
I'm going to tell you what we learned from this release. The Republicans are not invested in allowing people to actually learn whatever the fuck exists out there in the clients list. They just do not want people to... They do not want people to know any new information about this, and they simply want people to shut the fuck up. And in an effort to get people to shut the fuck up, they're just going to make it seem like they're, putting out new information with the hopes that it will quiet down some of the dumbest morons in the Trump base that also are invested in this Epstein thing.
Much of the information that was released was already public, but we could learn more when we hear directly from some of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers at a press conference here on Capitol Hill. The House Oversight Committee posted more than 33,000 pages, which it says is just a fraction of the total Epstein files. They contain previously unseen surveillance video outside Epstein's jail cell on the night he died. That includes a missing minute, which the Attorney General said in July didn't exist due to a security reset. There are also Epstein's flight logs, which show he traveled with young women. Some of the women who claim they were groomed and abused by the convicted sex offender met for 2.5 hours with House Speaker Mike Johnson and the Oversight Panel. The Speaker is under pressure to hold a vote to compel the Justice Department to publicly release the Epstein files in full. Republican Tom Massey and Democrat Ro Khanna have filed a petition to force a vote on the floor. Massey said they've already garnered half of the signatures required to advance it. Both lawmakers will appear with the survivors at today's news conference. Meantime, the Speaker is pushing for a separate vote this week to allow the Oversight Committee to continue its work. Tony.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much.
This is the big revelation, I would say, which is that the victims came out and were not happy with the lack of disclosure. So now an Epstein survivor is hinting at a potential list of names being compiled by the accusers themselves. Interesting stuff.
So tear into Congress. Hi there, my name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors?
I can't help but sometimes feel as though like this is just going to move the needle in the opposite direction, where it will simply make people not even care about pedophilia. Like, it's the only established norm that we have, which is child predation is unconscionable and it's the ultimate bad. It kind of feels in the same vein as like genocide, right? Like, genocide is a bridge too far. It's supposed to be a bridge too far for everyone. It is an established norm that you are anti-genocide. Everyone is supposed to be against that, right? And I feel like the less accountability Israel sees, the more violent it gets, and the more people feel discouraged and don't have realize that their voices don't matter, or at least like come to that conclusion, the more people just start kicking in their defense mechanism and going, well, maybe it's not so bad that genocide is happening. And I fear that this is what's going on with like pedophilia, like sequence, serialized, systematized pedophilia. It's the thing that everyone is supposed to be against, okay? Like, sure, people don't have that kind of opinion under patriarchal constructs about like, sexual assault against women. That's certainly the case. Like, there's rape culture, all this stuff, right? But like, pedophilia is supposed to be the thing that everyone is against. No matter how big of a villain someone might be in your life, if you ask them like what they think about pedophilia, they'll be like, yeah, fuck those guys. As a matter of fact, it's so bad that pedophiles themselves will often wear those like, oh, time to hang your local pedophile t-shirts, you know? But the more this kind of stuff is discussed and the less there's action the less there's any sort of action that political infrastructure in this country revolves around refusing to address the major issues that pertain to people's material conditions, the cost of living, rent, which requires you to tackle the housing market. This is a very moneyed interest a project that needs to maintain this finite supply of housing. A lot of people with money, a lot of people with capital want to make sure that the housing market stays as fucked as it is, which creates a lot of fucking homeless people, for example. And when you see that homelessness, when you see the homeless population, you go, oh, there's crime that's everywhere. Poverty is everywhere. Crime is everywhere. And then you want more militant responses. Trump is filling that need very well. But in that process, there's a lot of people that go, I voted for Donald Trump because I thought he was going to fucking make things more affordable. Things are less affordable than they ever were. And the only thing that's happened so far is that they're just like sending the fucking military. Trump said he was going to tackle the issue of migrant crime. It turns out the migrant crime panic was completely fucking made up hysteria. We got that inequity is the main issue, but why not focus on that? What do you mean? I am focusing on that. Anyway, the other chatter is just a chirper. He's stupid. So your goal is to build a pretty much disagree everything but Israel? Wait, but you went from F Hamas to pretty much disagree with everything but Israel. So your goal is to build a populist left, correct? I mean, yeah. That's strange. He's one of those realignment right-wingers who agrees with the left on economic policy. Actually curious because I've heard you say plenty since following that you'll never run for office. You say we need legitimate, honest, and principled politicians, and you have a not insignificant following. Like, what's stopping you? I think you need to be cut from a different cloth to be able to fucking run for office and actually be a politician. And I am not cut from that cloth at all. This is what I'm good at. I'm a good propagandist. I'm not a good administrator. I think one thing I heard you say that cuts through all the crime hysteria bullshit is that what people are really complaining about is visible poverty, aggressive panhandling, and dirty, poorly maintained streets. It's not about the actual stats. Yeah, exactly. Homelessness is one of the most visible aspects of poverty, and poverty translates to people thinking that there is major crime happening. A lot worse crimes that you fantasize about happening all around the country. So when you see homeless people in the streets, and when you see like other visible aspects of poverty, like, locking up deodorant at CVS, you go, crime is completely out of fucking control. That's it. But yeah, I don't know what this guy is saying, but the other guy, let's see, what was his radicalization journey? I want to know. I wanted Bernie 2016 attended a rally in National City. Appreciate the love, Hassan. Just wanted the U.S. to truly be united. Keep up the content, my man. I love guys like this. The guys who are like, I really love Bernie, so I voted for the send the military to open presents.
I would like to add something. Yeah, of course, security is most important also for our relation.
I mean, it's giving declining empire for sure. Okay, when your only active industry is around the military-industrial complex, and like your only large organizational. Like the largest fucking labor force that you have is just a bunch of fucking dudes with guns, the military, outside of like, I don't know, Walmart distribution facilities and Amazon distribution facilities, then yeah, you're going to keep using that. You're going to keep using that for everything. Keep using the military. It's the best. We have it. Time to invade. We got a military waiting. Would be a real shame if we don't use it. This motherfucker, bro, he's like, oh, we got real issues with housing. Send in the military, bomb the houses, and rebuild them.
And I'm a historian, as you know, maybe, Mr. President. Sure. I'm a historian, and this is the first time in Polish history, in 20th century and the 21st century, that the Poles are happy that we have foreign soldiers. In Poland, so the American soldiers are the part of our society nowadays. We have almost 10,000 soldiers, and this is the signal to the whole world and also to the Russian Federation that we are together, but we are not like the Poland free riders in Europe and in NATO. Mr. President Trump knows it, because our GDP for military service achieved 4.7, so we are probably the one NATO nation which is on this level, and we will not stop. Me, as the president of Poland, we are going to achieve 5% of GDP for military service, but with American soldiers on Polish soil, we solidify and we are secure.
Just about that. Poland was one of two nations that paid more than they were supposed to with NATO. I don't know if anyone knows that, but there were two nations. And Poland paid more than they were supposed to. They thought it was low. And by the way, since then, at my request, they've raised it from 2% to 5%. But Poland was one of two nations that paid more than they were supposed to, which was a very nice thing. Yeah.
You were upset that you were not invited to the parade in Beijing.
Never even thought about it until just now.
I do want to mention another I told you so moment. One of the things that I actually consistently brought up over and over again was that a lot of young people that took a shot in the dark at Donald Trump because they were too young to remember what it was like when he was president, where he made a lot of gains from like Gen Z voters, would very quickly realize that he sucks ass. And I told you this ahead of time. I literally said, like, all these people that fucking voted for him, especially young people that he was actively trying to get support from, because it was one of the only remaining avenues where people just like didn't have a fully fleshed out opinion of Trump, especially like a negative one. They were inevitably going to swing back around and go, this guy sucks. And the same goes for a lot of like independents, a lot of people in the margins. This is what happened in Trump 1 as well, right? People vote for the guy because they think he's going to break the systems. And he's also like, he's also consistently talking about things that other politicians simply don't talk about, like moneyed interests and things like that. And then you vote for him, and then you realize he's just as fucking transparently corrupt as anybody else. I guess the only difference is he's transparent in his corruption, as opposed to like other groups that or other politicians that aren't as transparent. But he's also a bumbling old fool who's not improving people's lives at all. And they would inevitably turn around and go, yeah, this shit sucks. And here we are. Trump's dropped approval among 18 to 29-year-olds have gone up to a 66% disapproval, shot up 29%. His job approval among 18 to 29-year-olds is at 30%. That's minus 12. This is always the same shit. Remember, I talked to you about trans issues, for example. I told you, there is going to be a point where people go, wait a minute, he's dunking on trans people, but that's not actually improving my life. What the fuck? That's it. All of these issues are simple distractions. They're very successful at they're very successful at making people pay attention. They're very successful at like shifting people's priorities away from the issues that actually matter. But when you actually become the president, it's not just about, please don't read statistics if you aren't going to say the thing. What? The polls are a lie. They're lying. The young people love me. Is that what you're saying? Oh, holy Toledo. Trump's job approval among 18 to 29-year-olds is down, down, down. Last time this was checked is in 225. February 2nd, 225. Is that good? That's what you were saying. You wanted me to say, holy Toledo. I am the 30%. Ask me anything. Let's fucking go, MAGA. I am the 30%. Suck my dick. Okay. Okay, dude. Why can't conservatives accept the L? Real events. Shooting in Oklahoma hospital. Multiple cops shot in Charlotte. Pray for Charlotte. Multiple cops shot. I don't think you are actually a Trump supporter. Hong Kong matters. Fuck China. Dem house control. Wait, maybe this was like one of those like liberals who then turned into a MAGA guy. Or maybe he's just memeing. I feel like he's just memeing. He's a... Maybe he is. Chatter, are you a former liberal turned? You are spot on. I was Dem. Oh, shit. No, this is great. Okay, following since 2020, November 3rd. Okay, obviously followed in the last election. Was a liberal. The election prior to this last one. Was a liberal, but was like a pro-NatSec, pro-NATO, anti-America's foreign adversary style liberal. And I guess like if I am to look at what radicalized them, I would suspect that it was maybe in like the 2021 era, post 2021, like we found a shiny. No, I don't think this is a shiny. I think this is like, and it's not head trauma either. No. I think this guy became pro-Trump after BLM protests and stuff like that, because he's talking about like multiple cops being shot in Charlotte. So if I were to clock him, I would say that it was like, I joined the military in 2018. Okay, that could be part of that. That could be part of it. But I think this is a COVID radicalization. Hard crime lib, the Anna Kasparian route. It could be hard crime, crime panic liberal that turned reactionary, turned into a Republican. It could be the type of motherfucker that like was a COVID guy. Could be a COVID guy as well. Like Democrats went heavy-handed with COVID policies that turned me into a fucking Republican. Or it could be that he like started watching other liberal content creators, moved away, wanted to vote Biden 2020, but never got a mail-in ballot at my duty station. Maybe watched like some Sex Pestiny on his journey and eventually became more and more reactionary. Potentially. I don't know. Because that's usually Kamala never won a primary, so that ruined democracy for me. That's funny. Yeah, he got scratched. Scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. That's what happened. Who did he want in the 2020 primary? He says he was Biden. Was he a trash can lib who got brain broken? I mean, I can totally see people that move away. Love you though, man. Keep up the content. I would go so far as to say guys like this, they think that people like myself are like nefarious actors. Maybe not him. He doesn't think that, or at least he still thinks that this is like entertaining enough. But guys like this, I think usually they get de-radicalized by the likes of people who are constantly saying like the radical left is too radical, but liberal style. And then that actually swings them back in the direction of, they're just like easily manipulated, but that usually swings them back in the direction of Trump eventually. Most just think you're dumb, to be honest. Why is it funny? Most just think you're dumb, to be honest, or ask him moron. Like this guy. This guy, 1,000% in a couple years is also going to be firmly a right-winger, right? This is the exact... What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Hasanabi broadcast coming to you live from, once again, sunny Detroit, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, buzz on, you may need to switch to the bag internet. No way. Well, that's precisely what I did, as a matter of fact. Because of the tumultuous introduction that took place, I did do that already. I'm on the bag internet. I put the internet in the bag, little bro. Okay? That's what I did. Hold on. Where's the... I need to do this. Nope. Wrong way. Okay, a little bit better. That's what I did. I'm on the bag because the internet in this hotel is actually incredible. The internet in this hotel is actually incredible. It's like 130 up, 130 down, which is way more than I already need. I can work with like 12, you know what I mean? At worst, I could work with like 8. 130 is fantastic, but for some reason, it was just like not letting me. It just kept cutting in and out. It was unreliable. And it could be like the Wi-Fi is wonky. I don't know. Why your stream last night made me cry. It was so wholesome. It made you cry because it was amazing. Finish that legacy, bro. Nah, it's unfinished. But folks, welcome to the broadcast. Hold on, let me see. Let me fix this camera a little bit. I'm live. I'm alive. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Sunday Fun Day. And instead of not streaming today, as I sometimes contemplate, I will be streaming, as you guys know, because I can't stop, because I love this community, even if they are unappreciative of all of the efforts that we put in on the Hasanabi broadcast. Anyway, so yesterday, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what's going on in the world of Hasanabi Piker in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. But unfortunately, there is nothing that has taken place in my life between those time periods because yesterday's stream was spectacular. It was amazing. My entire body is in pain. You know, I got muscle pain from the workout. I got lower back pain from standing up all day and carrying a bag all day. I know March probably feels the same as well. And overall, it's just like, it was a great day. It was a spectacular day. One that had a lot of excitement. You already did like 3 things I would have told you to do on limited time in Detroit. I'm glad my cities look so good. You got to come back sooner than later. Hood, if you got any suggestions on what we should be doing today after Dearborn, let me know. We have a limited amount of time after that before I have to fly out. But hopefully we'll be able to do some Dearborn, some Detroit stuff. They want to challenge your ball game. What is this? Who does? I mean, they would cook me. They're good. They're actually really good. Hoop Jobby. Don't fear Hoop Jobby is here. Oh my God. Oh my God. The left-handed bandit. Wow. Did you like Balkan House? I mean, it was cool. It was good. I'm Turkish. You're asking. Yeah, you're asking a Turkish man if any doner he has in America is going to compete with Turkish doner, and it's not. But yeah, what a day, man. We hit all the spots. Like, we hit everything. I feel like you also ate it on a full stomach. True. If I was hungrier, that probably would have hit way harder too. But it was pretty crazy. Started off the day, a little bit of us time here, a little bit of me time. Very quickly went to Drew Gooden cosplay doing his latest vid. Wait, what? Okay, we'll look at that in a second. But yeah, we had the Palestine People's Conference, which was amazing. The Palestine People's Conference was amazing. Delivered a speech on there. I hope people liked it. Please take off the ascot. It simply does not go with that fit. Okay, I'm not. Damn, I didn't know you had bitrate like that. I have bitrate on the bag, but unfortunately not enough bitrate on the regular, on the regular stream, on the desktop stream. But yeah. So did the conference, linked up with some folks, saw some friends, and then after that, we were just roaming the streets. Went to Dearborn with Abdul Al Sayed. worked out, play some ball with the teens. Obviously, people hate that when I do that. It's like I think it's like my audience's least favorite activity, honestly, but I love it. And I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stop myself. When I see basketball, I'm like, I gotta play. Had some meets, that was incredible. Midwest supremacy is real. It really is. Dr. El Sayed,